Absolutely coffee at this hour. Coffee at all hours of the day, Jeff Gonzales. Hey there, my friend. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
Fantastic. Wow, I
Yeah,
want to be like you when I grow up, for yet another reason.
I can
And
sprinkle some special sand on you that will make you
appreciate
fantastic.
that. Well, you can start with getting me one of those t-shirts because I definitely want one.
I will I'll be happy. I'll bring one out for
Tell everybody at TyCon why they too should want a TriCon t-shirt.
you. Well, first they should always be a rebel. Rebels are the way to go. That's number one. Um, first, I am so excited to be going back up to Dallas this year. It's I can't believe it's already been a year.
I know, I know.
This past year went by in a blur, and this year is going to be awesome. I am really excited. We're going to be bringing back a couple of the classes that we did last year. So we're going to be doing strong hand only for EDC, and that got a lot of really good reviews, which is the reason why we're doing it again this year.
It was great.
One of the things that I love about that class is it challenges the status quo for the speedsters that are always trying to have this perspective on their training modals. So that one is a really good one. I really like that one. It
Yeah.
forces you to be more practical in your everyday scenarios. It really, really does.
That and maybe to not outrun your headlights
Well,
a little bit,
there's always a lot of truth to be said in that. I think one of the other things, like we only have a couple hours to kind of dive into a really complex subject, but I love it nonetheless because it does, at the very least, give people a moment of pause.
Hmm.
That kind of like, wait a minute, am I really doing myself justice by going down this path, or should I really consider it from a practical, utilitarian point of view? And most of the people, I think, get it at the end. They kind of like start to recognize the importance and the value.
Well, and it also translates over to two-handed shooting and to off-handed shooting. So I like that it almost sort of psychologically tricks people into recommitting to the fundamentals in a way, after so many years of being blinded by, the sexiness of speed. It's
Mm.
nice to kind of get back to basics, and most people have trouble doing that, especially if basics were so long ago, unless you artificially, cripple them by taking away a hand.
Well,
so
it,
so
it
I
you
love
know
it.
it's so funny too because the two instances where I had to draw my gun here in the States, one of them I was carrying my son in my arms, right? That was the first one. And then the second one, I literally thought, do I want to hold this? It wasn't precious. Do I want to hold this? Do I want to ditch this?
Hmm.
And so that kind of like that dilemma of what do I do is
Yeah.
not, like I remember thinking after the fact, and both of them were resolved without deadly force, but the bottom line is like after the first one, I was like, okay, I need to start doing a lot more shooting with one-handed, bottom line. And the second one, I need to recognize that if it's something that I don't want to drop, like my son or a nuclear bomb, I suppose, then I need to figure out how to do it with one hand. I need to get it done with one hand. So, and it's
Yeah, and
also
I
really,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, I was going to say, it's also really, really hard sell to get people to understand that whatever you have in that hand, you're going to have a hard time letting go if you don't think about it in advance. If you don't have a plan, if you don't actually do some work on the range to practice that.
Hmm. I think it was Eric Gilhouse that I was talking to about this. Whoever's teaching offhand only, I think it's Eric. I don't know. I might have it wrong. But anyway, we were talking about how most people who don't do a lot of one-handed shooting assume that the only cause for it would be an injury to a
Mm,
hand.
yeah.
And would you agree that most of the time there's some other reason, like you can't, spike your son on the pavement in order to get into the gunfight?
Yeah, actually, it's so funny that you talk about that because most of the videos that you watch these days of people that have done any kind of shooting with one hand, I think there's such a very small percentage of them that were actually injured shooting with one hand.
Mm,
So
Interesting.
that's another, like I'm not a big video analysis guy. I feel like that's both it's a double-edged sword, but at the same
Hmm.
time, that is something that, folks should probably take if they're having a hard time swallowing that pill. That's
Hmm.
something that makes it really evident, very easy to kind of like, oh crap, huh, all right.
Well, I will say, folks, I'll echo what Jeff said earlier in that that the his class on strong hand only EDC was really well received last year. We got tons of rave reviews for it, so I'm glad that you are bringing it back. However, Jeff is an overachiever, so he has like 8 billion classes at TACCon, and therefore we weren't able to repeat strong hand only EDC. So it only happens once. You have one chance to get in that
Yeah.
class, so do not miss out. Another class that you're bringing back is fanny packs, which I
Yes.
love. We've talked a lot about this, Jeff, and you mentioned practicality earlier,
Yeah.
and everybody's had that class where it's like, carry the biggest gun and the most gun you possibly can. And, if you can't conceal it, then replace your whole wardrobe, right? Well, what do you have to say about that?
So first of all, again, I was very happy with how well that class was received last year. The reason why we're bringing it back. And I think what fanny packs do is they give people options. They give people not only options, but they give people, I would almost say, an excuse to be outside, to be comfortable, to be in athletic gear, to be in comfort wear, to actually just be lollygagging around and have a really decent loadout. Um, One of the things that I wasn't able to finish last year, well, last year we did a major fanny pack review. We did a full on video program of about 6 different fanny packs. We stacked them all against each other, see how they worked, see how they performed. And there was one that really stood out really well, and we approached that company. Well, actually, we were mutually put in touch, and we started working on a project with them. So hopefully, by TACCon,
Hmm.
I'll have, if not a working prototype, I will definitely, if not a final product, I'll have a working prototype to have there
Nice.
at the conference. I'm really excited about it. It was fun. It's a challenge to kind of get it done in a way that I think people will appreciate. But it's also one of the things I'm super happy about. It's all American made. It's all made
Very
here in the
cool.
good old fashioned USA. So that makes
Well,
me super happy.
congrats.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
you are -1 because you need to set one aside for me. I will take that off your hands. Thank you very much. I'll just say, folks, before we shift to Jeff's last class, that it don't ask yourself, will I ever wear a fanny pack
Mm-hmm.
before deciding to come to this class? That's not the point of the class. The point, more to what Jeff was saying earlier, is how do you afford yourself options? You don't
Yeah.
go to a class like this to learn how to carry on a fanny pack. You go to a class like this to learn what all physical and dimensional, spatial, positional variables you have to keep in mind in order to strike the best balance between comfort and preserving the actual life that you are defending with the gun
Yes.
and wearing the gun, right? There's no point in arming yourself if you have to give up your entire life to do so. So that's why I absolutely love it. And I'll also say, real quick, sorry to editorialize here, but non-traditional carry methods are specialized techniques. And if you've done very little training outside of a standard holster or OWB or something like that, and you expect to just toss a gun in a purse or toss a gun in a briefcase or in a fanny pack, please, please, please consider taking this class, because if anybody can give you the down and dirty techniques that you need to do something like that safely, it's Jeff Gonzales. But I hate to hear people say, well, I'll just throw it in a purse or whatever, or as if throwing a gun in a briefcase is easier than fitting it to a holster. And I would argue that that's actually a much more specialized way to go about it. But understanding the dynamics of those kinds of options will help you to, I mean, I hate to be cheesy about it, but live a fuller life
It's
and be
first of all,
yourself.
not at all. Don't. It's 100% accurate, because I do see that there is a mentality that's out there. It's promoted. It's encouraged in some cases. You've got to have, if you're not carrying this particular make and model with all these widgets and bells and whistles, you're going to get killed in the streets. The reality is that it stifles your ability to enjoy life. It really does. Like, I want to live my life and I just want to be armed in the process. Simple as
Yep.
that. And there are, um, I would say I'm wearing a fanny pack probably 2 or 3 times a week out of the house. Like, I travel, whether I'm going to the gym or I'm going to do something athletic, I'm wearing a fanny pack. So I think it's really nice to have that. There are three things I want to bring up about the fanny pack. Number one is that I really, really, really hope nobody just throws a gun into a bag without protecting the trigger. So that's a very big thing here. A lot of people came to the class last year and we had some issues because some of the guns in those bags were not, let's just say they weren't unsafe, but they also weren't safe.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Right. So we really encourage you to have some sort of Kydex shell to protect the trigger when it's inside that. And that goes with a purse as well. Now, a purse is slightly different from a fanny pack. It's off body. This is on body because it's strapped to you. The second thing is that you, when you're looking at these fanny packs, like, if I had to give somebody a piece of advice about like selecting a fanny pack that has what they need, nowadays the fanny packs are being developed with some really brilliant ideas and ingenious type of features. So that's been really nice. But some of those are unnecessary and overkill, right? You don't have to go down that road. Just get something that's going to do the job that you need to do it. And then to carry over with what you had said, which is the fanny pack allows me to carry something small. And carry it small is a good thing. So don't feel like you have to fit your daily carry gun in there, right? That's not the whole point behind it. I mean, you can do it. There are fanny packs that do it, but they're more like satchels at that point. It's like a messenger bag, right? It's not a
Yeah.
fanny pack anymore. So there are also two like observations from last year that I will bring out. We're not doing any over the shoulder carry. This is all straight around the waist, right? So that can
Gotcha.
sometimes be a deterrent to some people, but I will tell you that you have to put it in context. Bringing the gun out of a fanny pack around your waist is going to be substantially slower than bringing it out of a holster on your waist. Trying to do the same thing from a shoulder bag or shoulder carry is even worse.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not a big fan of it. And it's also much more difficult to do it safely on a firing line. So, folks, I'm sorry. You'll get plenty of information from the fanny pack lecture and practicals that you can then go and do your shoulder bag carry if you'd like to on your own time. So that would be one. And the second thing is that when you're looking to carry, again, picking the fanny pack, totally up to you, however you want to do it. I do recommend that you try to keep it neutral. Try to maintain kind of like a lower, keep it as some of these fanny packs, when you
I
look
can't
at,
have my blinged out fanny
you
pack.
can, but when you say blink, I literally see you rhinestoning yours,
Yes, my
like
fanny
with
pack is bedazzled.
bedazzled, exactly. Okay, that's different. All right, that's different. Sometimes we'll see some that have like the tourniquet on the outside, maybe a
uh,
flashlight hanging off of it. Those types of things I really would encourage you not to do. All right, so
Gotcha.
that's all I have to say for fanny packs right now.
Very cool. Last thing before we shift gears, will you have any loaners on hand or do people bring their own
We
fanny
will
pack?
bring a bunch of extras. The problem is that because we're bringing the extras, they're going to be fitted to a P365 family of guns.
Okay,
So because we have shells, we have Kydex shells in all of the holsters or all the fanny packs that we have. So absolutely, we'll bring a bunch. I think we have three extras that we'll bring out there with us. Sorry.
cool. Jeff is in the Facebook group, so if you have questions about that class, feel free to ping him. If you've
Mm-hmm.
got a fanny pack you want to run by him, yeah, I just put you out there like that.
Oh, I'm good with it. I'm totally good with it. Don't worry. Yeah,
Awesome. All
part of the
right.
life.
So, because, like I said earlier, you're an overachiever, you're not only bringing those two classes back, but you've got a new class this
That's
year
right.
called Dynamic Pistol Shooting. So,
Mm.
that one does repeat. It is, let's see, Saturday afternoon. Tell us about Dynamic Pistol.
So first, one of the things that I have always struggled with is we work in a very kind of static environment. our training environment is very static. You're on the 3, you're on the 7, you're on the 25. You're just training from a static position. It is almost like nails on a chalkboard for me. It's just so very. It's very difficult for me to do well, or not. That's not the right way to put it. Having the experience that I have and understanding the dynamics of a gunfight, there is a lot of movement
Hmm.
associated with those. And it's not just as simple as taking a step off the line of attack. It can be. I'm not trying to diss on that,
Hmm.
but you have to be a little bit more aware of the dynamics. And once you get moving, that's where I think things get very interesting. And what I always try to tell people is movement is life. I don't have to teach. So if you were to think about it, what is the one thing that you can do to increase the survivability rate of you in a deadly force encounter that doesn't require really any training? It's moving. If
Hmm.
you could just move, you make yourself either you're breaking contact, you're a harder target to hit because you're on the move, or you completely just go berserker on them and you just bum rush them and whatnot. So these are all things that we have to really consider, because the more you can embrace movement and the more you can actually recognize it's not as hard as people think. There are limits of performance, guaranteed. But getting there, there's a lot of work to be done before you get there. That makes it so much more valuable. Um, again, we only have a short time to kind of get through as much as we can in our portion here. And my goal is again to kind of whet the appetite for somebody to recognize the importance. Okay. And it's also really hard to do in, like, if you, unless you can go to your own private bay that
Right.
allows movement, that
Yeah.
allows you to move in front of the firing line, it's really hard to do. And so that's the other complexity.
Hmm.
I will say this: the way that we look at training is through a hierarchy of skills. It starts at the very bottom. Level one, if you want, is static range training, right? Daytime. So then as you move up to the next, and think of it as like a pyramid or a triangle, as you move up to the next level, level two, you as the shooter are dynamic, target is static. And that's what we're going to be working a lot of. You move up a little bit more on this pyramid, level three, you're static, but the target's dynamic. So now that puts you in a little bit of a conundrum as well. And at the very top of the pyramid, both you and the target are dynamic. Okay. That's represents the smallest amount of our training that we invest in. That is the very smallest that but if you were to think about it from the realistic perspective, you would invert that triangle.
Mm.
And the larger base would be on both you and the bad guy moving. But then you have to reconcile the fact that you put so little time into actually developing that skill. So, again, because of my lineage, that was something that was ingrained in me. I didn't know any different, honestly. That was just how we did everything. It was always movement based, movement, shoot, move, and
And
communicate.
everybody that has the Superman swirl is brought up on
Not everybody
movement.
has that.
Oh, that wasn't the lineage you were talking about? Oh, my bad. I
No.
thought you were talking. In case you didn't know, guys, Jeff Gonzales is a diva. Um, and he has a Superman swirl in his hair right there. See it?
I
It's
can't tell. Is it
so
there?
cool.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's my boyish charm. It's what
Yes,
allows people to
absolutely.
approach me before they
Well,
get the big FU across the forehead.
well, I'll just say, and I got to run because we're already into my next interview. But
Oh, geez.
yeah, yeah, sorry. But again, just like fanny packs, movement is something. It's not only infrequently trained by
Hmm.
practitioners, but most instructors don't know how to manage a line of movement safely,
Yeah.
and Jeff does. So if
Thank
you're
you.
just going to go to a random person teaching a class about movement, I would caution you against that. This is where you really need to invest in identifying a trainer who is well versed in that skill, because there's a lot to it. There's a lot of literally a lot of moving parts,
Hmm.
and not everybody manages that well or safely. So don't miss
Great.
the opportunity to learn dynamic pistol from Jeff Gonzales of Trident. Show me the shirt again. Of Trident Concepts, aka Tricon.
Mhm.
And you're bringing me a shirt, right?
I'm going to bring you a shirt. Yes.
All right, awesome. Thanks. I'm sorry to cut
You're
you
welcome.
short. We ran
And
over
just,
time,
just
but
I'll put it out there. People can go to our website, go to the pro shop, and they can find them there as well.
yeah, tell us the website.
Uh, uh, this website is shop.tridentconcepts.com.
Perfect. All
Yeah,
right. And the main site is tridentconcepts.com.
correct.
Excellent. Thank you, my friend. I will see you
Always a
very
pleasure.
soon. All right.
Yes, I can't wait. All right.
Bye.
Adios, everyone.